Hello and welcome back to another episode of Close Enough with your hosts Ray and Jess. We're on series 2 now, and today we are joined by a very, 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 very special guest. You may know him from playing Colin in Two Doors Down or anything else from his extensive line of work. We are so excited to have Jonathan Watson joining us today on this episode of Close Enough. Welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you. Thanks very much for having me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. So, if it's all right with you, we'll start with a bit about Two Doors Down.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, the Christmas special came out on Christmas Eve, so that was literally just last week as we're recording this. So what was it like to reunite after 2 years after, obviously, the sad death of Simon Carlyle, the writer and creator? What was it like to come back to working with the cast and the crew again?
Well, it was very enjoyable. I mean, as you probably guessed, we once we finished series 7, and consequently, a few days after that, Simon tragically died. We honestly didn't think we would revisit the program again.
No.
Because we had series 8 was lined up. There was a stage show that was in the pipeline as well, which everything was pulled, and we honestly didn't think we would ever visit Latimer Crescent again. So it was a pleasant surprise to get a call. I think it was March of last year. No, sorry, March of this year, when a script arrived. All our agents got notified a script had been written, and it all moved very, very quickly. And it taken Gregor quite some time. Gregor Sharp, the writer of the program who created it along with Simon, it took him a bit of time to, go back to it and see if he could, step into the shoes left by Simon as well. But the script was in really good condition. He done a fantastic job, and when we got together, there was an element of sadness, and I'm sure we had each of our moments of sort of quiet reflection. But once we get into it and once we get back on set, it was great. And I think we were helped enormously by the fact that Simon's mother and his sister came on set very early on and had lunch with us and everything, and gave, full approval to the whole thing happening. And they were so pleased that, Simon's memory was living on through the program. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
Lovely. That's really sweet. How did you all feel about coming back together for something?
Well, we all, we're a bit like a family, we all get on very well. We have the odd sort of tiff, whatever, but it blows over very quickly. But we're all very fond of each other, and it was good. I think if we had come back, a matter of months after Simon had passed away, it'd have been much more awkward. It would have been very difficult. But I think because of the passage of time, it felt the right thing to do, and it was great to get together. I mean, the thing that you might be interested in, the thing that triggered Gregor to sit down and have a go to write an episode himself was because John Petrie is head of comedy at BBC, had said to him, you want to try and get back on board. And what John did was the BBC organised, they do it every year. They had a comedy festival, and it was in Glasgow. And in the comedy festival, John suggested we got the cast together and we read 2 episodes of the programme in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And when Gregor saw the reception and the warmth from the crowd and everything, that's the thing that it triggered that it might be an idea for him to sit down and put pen to paper again,
Well, it was such a lovely way to kind of continue the story of Two Doors Down. I mean, just watching the show, it was like was almost like having it was a warmth that you had the show back, and just to kind of, it's always lovely to check in with characters who you haven't seen for a few years, and just kind of when it's done, so you think like that is where they would be now.
Yeah.
I think it was done brilliantly. So
Oh,
what
thank
was
you.
the absolutely no problem. What was the process of from kind of being asked if you would be interested, like you said, you got a script through to your agent, to then
Yeah.
filming it, and then it's obviously been on BBC last week.
Well, things moved very, very quickly. Once we got the script and everybody was on board, which was, a matter of hours, I would think, just a couple of days, everybody was on board to do it. And we had a good idea when we filmed it in the summertime.
Yes.
And so it moved very, very quickly. Facilities were put in place, booked, crew were brought on board. Things moved very swiftly. And then once, by the time that we'd got round to film it, it had also been announced that we were the stage version was back on the
Yes.
calendar. So the two things were tumbling along quite quickly, and the next thing is doing the live shows at the Hydro next September and October. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll talk a bit about that in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
So what does this Christmas special kind of coming out mean for the future of Two Doors Down? Does it mean that there's going to be another series? Obviously, I know you're probably, if you do know anything, you're probably not allowed to say, but can you say anything?
Can you say? Well, I can honestly say that we don't know.
No.
We don't know. I mean, I had lunch with one of the executive producers a couple of weeks ago, middle of December, and they genuinely didn't know. So maybe it's something we'll find out early in the new year. I really don't know, but I think the priority now or in the new year for Gregor will be to knock the stage show into shape.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it's a massive operation and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Two Doors Down has obviously been going since 2013.
Yeah.
And it's still going now, and obviously with the death and things being put on hold. How, as a cast, was it reuniting together? Were you all very happy to see each other? Was it easy sailing?
Yeah, of course, it really was. And I mean, we still, although we hadn't worked since we finished work together since the end of Series 7, we still see each other quite a lot,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
we, the likes of me, Elaine. I mean, I was at drama college with Elaine, so Elaine's been a good friend of mine for over 40 years. So, we'll meet up. Kieran, he now lives and has done for a few years. He now lives up here. I see Graham Grado regularly. And then when I'm down in London, if I'm down working, for instance, when I was doing stuff at a development at the National in about April, May. I saw Arabella quite a bit as well, so we all keep in touch. So it wasn't a shock to the system picking up again.
Lovely. That's really nice to hear that you stay in contact. You're quite a close knit group of people. It's lovely.
I can't shake them off, Jess. Can't shake them off.
You don't want to. You love
it. So going kind of back to the beginning of Two Doors Down.
Yeah.
What was the kind of auditioning process like, and first impressions of the show?
Well, it all happened very, very quickly because the story goes, I wouldn't name names, but it was the build up to Christmas in 2013, and there was a slot on the BBC One network at 9 p.m. that had to be filled. And the person that was due to do a project for that slot had to, for whatever reason, had to pull out.
Right.
And all of a sudden they had this slot that they needed filled. And Simon and Gregor had written Two Doors Down, the one-off, the 1 hour special. It wasn't a pilot, it was just a one-off. That had been lying on the shelf for about a year or two. So I got a call. It was like I got a call on the Wednesday from my agent. Can you be down in London tomorrow, just after lunchtime, to meet Simon and the director and the producer? And I went down, met them, chatted through it a bit, and the offer came in the next day, and the contract was done
Really?
very quickly. And I think more or less everybody else was the same.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And we met up. We rehearsed in a rehearsal space near Highborough Corner in Islington, just off Upper Street, and we were in there for a few days, and then back up to Glasgow, and we filmed for about, I think it was about 10 days on the trot, no break, 10 days, and we turned over at 8 in the morning, and we wrapped at 8 at night.
Really?
So it was rock solid in
Yeah.
that time. And then it was all done. And when it came out, the response was extraordinary, because I think at that time, social media started having an impact on programming and stuff like that. And it really did take off. And we were all, I think, if we're being honest, we knew that we were working in something that was well written and a good cast and everything. But I think we were all sort of genuinely surprised at the impact that it did have when it came out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think it had such a big impact because I think to see a show where it is literally just normal people with normal everyday lives is something that isn't really kind of shown that frequently.
Yeah.
We all have that neighbour, don't we? We all have that annoying neighbour.
Yeah. I think that's
I
think that's the strength of the program, and that is the observation in the writing. I mean, it's a good cast and everything, but it's so well observed, and I think that's why it travels the whole country and does really well in the network. You know,
very relatable, isn't it? You see these characters, especially your character. How did you find Colin when you first read the script?
Well, I just had a rough idea of what I was going to do with it, and it was great. It was great fun to read a character, because I hopefully I'm nothing like him in real life, but the character provides the conflict in the room, which is always fun to do. Because I wouldn't do that. So it's great to play a character that stirs things up, and along with Kathy as well. They complement each other very well. So it was great to do. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I think, and that is something with the with the show, that it's just everyone together works so well because everybody contributes one thing. Each character contributes one thing to each situation, and without them, most of the things that happen throughout the series, when you sit back and kind of look at it, what most storylines that happen throughout the series or in each episode wouldn't happen if they weren't all together. So obviously, it's an ensemble performance. Was it easy to kind of, with the cast, to get that straight away? Did you click straight away, or did it take some time to get that?
I think
going?
I think we just sort of we kind of clicked pretty much early on. I mean, there's been changes over the years. That, for instance, the character of Christine didn't exist when we started when we started out. That Elaine wasn't in the frame then, and then there was cast changes when it went. There's a couple of cast changes when it went to series, as well. But we'd gotten, there'd been a good feel when we'd done the 1 hour special, and it just sort of carried on
Yeah.
to the series, and the additions that were made with Elaine and Harky and Jamie coming in, that all helped enormously as well. And but I think there was when we, in filming, the filming process, Simon was very good at, just nipping in with little notes and little suggestions, very subtly, and we're all part of that. It's not, he wasn't, homing in on one character. It was, we were all getting little just sort of ideas to sort of help develop things a little bit better. So no, the ensemble feel was very natural, and it's part of the enjoyment of the job, actually.
Yeah.
Who's your favourite character?
Yeah.
My favourite character.
Yeah.
Well, I like my character.
Yeah.
I really do. I really enjoy playing it, and I don't always watch the episodes though. I did watch the Christmas Eve special with the family, and we all sat down and we watched it quite early on before transmission, because it was available in the iPlayer. But I enjoy playing the characters. I do.
Yeah.
I was asked that recently at an event, and I said, if you couldn't play your character, who would you go for? And I said Christine. So that would have been a fun bit of casting, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know if you're the same, or Jess, if you're the same, but I have favourite characters for different reasons. Like, I have a favourite character for comedy, and I have a favourite character for lovableness. Do you know what I mean? That kind of and then that plays back into every character contributes something different to each thing. With the kind of behind the scenes, would you be able to talk us through the filming process for a series or an episode or a special?
It's quite different from other comedies that I've been involved in over the years, and that the way it's shot is pretty extensive. They cross shoot everything, and so, for instance, if you're looking at Beth and Eric's living room, and we're all sat round, there's about 4 sides. There's the couch, the fireplace, Eric's chair, and the other settee. So say there's about 2, 3, or 4, depending on, Eric's usually in his own, but you'll do a sort of a wide shot with all the characters, then you'll home in on 2 shots and singles, and if you're doing a 10-page scene, which we do frequently in the series, you'll probably play out the scene something like about 50 times.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. And what they do because of that, if you're driving the scene and you have the bulk of the dialogue, they'll try and shoot you out before lunchtime.
Right.
So that's a bit of, because when you do it so many times like that, when you perform it about 50 odd times, 45, 50 times, towards the end of the day, you become word blind. You think, God, have I said that right? It's so it's a disciplined, very disciplined way of doing it. You can't take your foot off the gas. You've got to be so focused for every take, So.
Yeah.
Definitely. Do you find that you get noticed quite a lot more now because of Two Doors Down, or because you've had quite a big career? It's like stems from you've done quite a lot of work and you've got only an excuse is one of the big things,
Yeah, that's a big thing up in that's really up in Scotland.
Scotland,
yeah.
Two Doors Down is more down south for you, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's down here.
The earlier on in my career, when I was involved in Naked Video, which was a BBC Two sketch show that was in the network, there was recognition then, but Two Doors Down is taking it to a new level.
Right.
And I was down. I filmed Doctor Who over the course of about nearly a year during lockdown.
Wow.
And I remember being sat, well, in reception in Cardiff, and I had a mask on, a hat on. All you could see was my eyes, and these extras supporting artists were coming in to work in casualty, and they were coming up and saying, "Excuse me, when's Two Doors Down coming back?" And I'm thinking, how the hell can you? Yeah. The best of the lot was that because of my involvement in Doctor Who, I've attended a few Doctor Who conventions.
Yeah.
One of them being a really big one in LA, which happened not long after the transmission of the Flux came out. And I was sitting beside Sylvester McCoy, who I'd worked with many years before, and the two of us are signing autographs. And this guy approached their table, big American guy with a beard on, but he was dressed head to toe as Jodie Whittaker. And he thanked me for returning the Centauran Empire to its rightful place in the galaxy. And then he said, "I wonder if you would sign this for me." And he went into his pocket and he bought out a box set of Two Doors Down. And I said, "You are kidding me." And then Sylvester's going, you're in that. And he'd found it in BritBox and absolutely loved it. So that was really extraordinary, So.
Yeah, to be so the show to be kind of internationally recognised is brilliant.
But it is. It's a big difference from other stuff, but certainly it plays so well, especially in the likes of Cardiff, Manchester, Liverpool, London. It sort of hits a note in all these places.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
The Scottish humour is very different to, I'd say, my humour here. I'm in Norfolk, and
all right.
I've worked for the army on behalf of the army around the army camps, and we had the Scottish battalion down here, Royal Scots, and their sense of humour, fantastic, absolutely incredible. But sometimes I'd be stood there like, I really don't know what you're going on about.
Oh, listen, that's not unusual. I get that myself up here, so don't worry about
it. What is your favourite series or episode? I know you said you haven't really watched it, but equally, what was the best series to film?
My favourite episode, I do watch a lot of it, but I don't religiously sit down when it comes out. But my favourite episode is one from earlier on in I think it might be about series 2 or 3. And it's called Fish Friday.
Right.
And Kathy has gone away to a health farm, and I've been left to my own devices, and I'm basically hammered for the entire episode. So that's my favourite one. That was great fun to do. I loved doing that.
Yeah, and that is a brilliant episode, actually.
Thanks.
You're amazing. Well, you're amazing in the whole series.
Ray, stop fangirling.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Starstruck. So who out of the cast makes you laugh the most on the set?
Well, they kind of all do in different ways, to be honest with you. Alex and I have known each other for many years, so although he and Arabella play the sort of anchor characters and might not have as many funny things to do and say, the two of them make me laugh a lot. Alex and I have known each other for a long time, and he's a very, very funny guy. So we usually have something going.
Have you worked with Alex on anything before?
Yeah, I've worked with him in a couple of things actually. Most recently he guested on Only an Excuse, as did Joy McAvoy.
Okay.
Uh, Before we decided to bring that to a halt, but the two of them have guested on Only an Excuse. We've been in the same cast. I think Alex was in Local Hero, but we didn't. He had just had a couple of days in Fort William, and I was part of the village, so I was on it for about 8 weeks. But our paths didn't cross. But no, we've worked together on a couple of things prior to Two Doors Down. I
Right,
also
yeah.
used to live round the corner from him when I lived in London. So
Oh,
that was the other thing. Yeah, many years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, what do you think is it about Colin that audiences kind of connect with, kind of like about him?
I think maybe because, as I mentioned earlier, he provides the sort of conflict in the room, by saying the most politically incorrect thing to say. I think
Yeah,
people uh, enjoy that because it's so far removed from what they would do in real
yeah,
life. So it's always fun to listen to somebody who's willing to come out with guff like he does.
yeah,
So there's a bit of fun in that. But I think, and I think because, and I include Kathy in this as well. We both bring that to the situation. So I think that's what, if people do enjoy it, I think that's one of the reasons for that. Yeah,
yeah. And I think that once again, everyone knows someone like that, which then kind of
exactly.
makes it so much
Yeah,
more relatable.
your characters on the show literally remind me of some neighbours we have. We've recently moved to a new area, and the neighbours are literally Kathy and Colin, and it's just uncanny. And when Ray mentioned about speaking to, getting you on, I was like, I'm literally living next door to
oh
Colin and
God.
Kathy at the moment. Honestly, like it's so relatable, and I think that's what people love. So when people see you out, they must just do people ever not know your name and call you Colin?
Well, I'm sure they do sometimes, but I'm quite good at sort of flying under the radar. I mean, I do get, you do get recognised because of the program, but and because I'm known up here for other things, they usually call me by my name. But I'm sure on the odd occasion I do get called Colin.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's okay.
Sure, sure.
Was there any either a Colin moment or storyline, or even just a storyline in the show or an episode that kind of shocked you when you read the script?
Can't really think of anything off the top of my head. Uh, no, no, I can't. I don't know if I can give you an answer for that actually, because there's never really anything that is hugely shocking. I mean,
No.
I might have some shocking lines to say,
Yeah.
but that's in keeping with the character, so I
Yeah.
would expect to have them anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, I came away with one in the Christmas Eve special that you go, my God, I can't believe you said that. But it's not a shock to do it because you would expect him to have
Yeah.
these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, what was it like over the years to deal with kind of the changes to the cast? Because obviously there was the introduction of the characters of Michelle and Alan, but
Yeah,
also when Kathy went away to Egypt for that time.
yeah.
How was it kind of, did you notice an impact on the cast, or even just was it different in the filming and the acting?
The character of Anne Marie was played by Siobhan Redmond, as you know, and I'd worked with Siobhan. Well, in fact, Elaine and I were in Siobhan's very first TV job, which
Oh,
was
really?
a BBC Scotland drama written by Liz Lockhead. So I knew Siobhan. I had seen her over the years and everything. So it was, and she's a fabulous actress, and it was great to work with her. But it was different from having Kathy, because what ended up happening was, well, for me, was that she would say not so much inappropriate things, but things that were quite information that we didn't require, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
rather than me being part of that, I was kind of sort of rolling my eyes to it. So I maybe didn't provide the same level of conflict.
Yeah.
So that I noticed that from it, but it was still fine. It was still good fun to do. And of course, we had, as you mentioned, Joy and Grado joining the cast, which has been great as well. It just added another sort of layer. The one I do miss, because she's, I still, I saw her recently actually, and that's Sharon Rooney. I think I'd love to see her come back if we
Yeah.
were to do more. Apart from being, a wonderful actress, I think it would provide Elaine's character, Christine, another layer as well, having the daughter and grandchild there.
Yes.
So, but I
She's
do.
a great actress. She's
Oh,
fantastic.
she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's fantastic. And it's great having Kieran on board, but I loved working with Harkey for the years that he was part of it. I think he's a smashing actor as well. So, but all these things happen in the course of a series, and everybody eventually settles down, and it's all fine.
But I think that even just the characters leaving, like you say, like the character of Jazz, and when Kathy went away, it then provides actually lots of punchlines for jokes after that, like
Sure.
Kathy. But that episode where Kathy comes back is a brilliant episode. It's the first episode of is it the 6th or the 7th series?
Seventh series.
First episode of the 7th when she comes back.
Yeah.
Is a brilliant episode, and obviously that wouldn't have happened had she not gone away.
So you've had quite an extensive career. What is your most memorable thing to date that you have been in and starred in?
Well, there's been quite a few jobs that have been very, very special and have meant a lot to me. The one that I do hark back to is a program that I did just before, actually. I did Two Doors Down. It was called Bob Servant, Independent. And it was written by Neil Forsyth, who's gone on to great things, writing Guilt and The Gold.
Yeah.
But this was a comedy with starring Brian Cox, and I played his sidekick, Frank. And we did 3 series of it, and it was one of the most enjoyable jobs I've ever done. And we still all keep in touch to this day, and still remain friends. So
that's lovely.
That was a special job.
That was 2013, wasn't it?
Yeah, it would be about that. About that time when we did it. But it was great. But I loved so many other things that I've done. I loved doing Alan Partridge. That was a bit special. But no, I've got fond memories of lots of things.
Yeah.
Filth as well.
Filth, yeah. Well, that was only that was a very small part. So it was. I was lined up to do another part in that, but that didn't pan out, and I ended up doing the policeman. But I was in and out for a day. I mean, I was actually thinking about it the other day, actually, because I knew most of the cast that were the leads, and they all came down on set to see me when I arrived, which was quite nice. But not so much that. I mean, it was fine to do, and it was nice to work with.
It's on the CV.
It's on the CV.
Yeah.
The other one though that was hugely special was Doctor Who.
Yes.
Because I mean, I watched it when I was a little boy, but I didn't know anything about what I was, auditioning for. It was my son.
No.
My son said to me, he said, who are you auditioning? Wait, what part is it? I said, I don't know. I said, Commander of the Centaurans. Does that mean anything? He went, oh my God. He said it's like Daleks, Cyberman, Centaurans. So, but that all happened very quickly. I mean, the phone call on them on the Friday afternoon. I taped on the Saturday and I got the job on the Monday.
Wow.
And then I was down, it was over lockdown. I had to drive down to Cardiff. I've kept the letter, I had a special letter with Doctor Who headed notepaper if I'd get stopped by the police. Because when I was driving down, that you literally saw about 3 cars from Glasgow to Birmingham, But that was a great job, and it was Jodie Whittaker was fantastic to work with.
Really?
I mean, yeah, she was brilliant. Because with these things, that are long running and quite established, when you go in as a guest, you've really got to hit the ground running. And to do that, you've got to feel very much part of it all. And she was brilliant at that, as well as being, fabulous in the part. She made you feel so welcome from day one. So yeah, that was a special job. Yeah.
That sounds amazing, because you do hear some horror stories of some of actresses and actors who, can be quite diva-ish on sets. But obviously, these people that you're naming, I think they're all fantastic. And some of the things they've done, like Mad Fat Diary for one, all different types of things that these people have been in. And I just think, it's just amazing to hear that they're actually genuinely really nice and they're lovely to work with.
Well, and even with you, just getting the chance to talk to you, to know that actually you are genuinely lovely.
Genuine,
you're not like Colin.
You're not a diva.
No,
no. No, you don't. When you work with good people, there's. I mean, I'm sure there are instances where there's problems and all that, but I don't really. I've been fortunate to avoid that for the vast majority of my career. I mean, if I like Brian Cox, when we started doing Bob Sermon, I hadn't met him at all. He hadn't met me. He came into the read through and sat down beside me where our names were all there. There was about 50 folk in the room. All the bosses came up from London. And he said, hi, I'm Brian. I said, hi, I'm Johnny. And we sat down, we read the first ep. Right away, we read the first ep. And when it finished, he just reached over to me and he said, hey, you and me, we're going to have some fun.
Oh.
And so right away, any sort of nerves or whatever with working with somebody who's won everything except an Oscar, it was fantastic. And he was such a generous actor to work with. But I think you get that from the ones that are really great. They want you to be good because it makes them better as well,
Yeah.
So they're very encouraging and very, supportive. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Aside from Two Doors Down, which TV show would you love to be on?
I always joke with my agent that I should be the next janitor and call the midwife. But I don't know if that will happen or not. But that's a joke.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. That's a joke that my agent and I always share. Yeah.
Yeah. What's your least favourite episode?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. I haven't watched it, but there's only one episode that Alex and I haven't been in, and it was one when there was an all-girl cast. So I think I can speak on behalf of both of us to say that's our least favourite episode.
Which Two Doors Down character would you least want as a real neighbour?
I think I'd have to say Kathy.
Yeah. I do agree with you. I think she's great for onlookers, but I do think, as an actual neighbour, she would probably get on your nerves a bit.
Yeah.
If Colin hosted a dinner party, how do you think it would end? Although he kind of did, didn't he?
Well, yes, I think we've hosted a couple of things in our place. It usually ends in tears, so
Yeah.
I don't see it being any different this time round.
No.
So yeah.
And if we enough to have series 8 or another special of Two Doors Down grace our screens, what is one thing you'd either like to see kind of back? I know you said about a couple of actors and actresses you'd like to see welcomed back, or are there any kind of storylines that you think would be good to see in a future series?
Well, I can't think of a storyline off the top of my head, but I think
No.
it would be quite nice to have the likes, one of the either Sharon or Harky back. I think that
Yeah.
would be an interesting, and I think the fans that have been with the show right from the start, I think they would welcome something like that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And to see the return of a character like that, I think there's lots of possibilities with storylines,
Yeah, I think so.
etc.
Have you got anything in the pipeline coming up, or is that?
No, that my next thing is towards the end of January, I start rehearsals for a play that I did development on last summer, and that'll run until it's in Glasgow, and it's a short tour, and that'll finish around about Easter time. So that's the next
Right.
big thing.
Lovely.
So, yeah,
Brilliant. And then, of course, you've
that.
got Two Doors Down live next year.
Next
like
year,
you said,
yeah.
September, October. What can people coming to see it expect to see?
Well, I really don't know because it's not written yet, but I think they would have to maybe include some sort of favourite bits from the series. So
Yeah.
I think that's a possibility. Whether it'll be that, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
perfect. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for
my
joining
pleasure.
us today.
Lovely talking to you both.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we
thank
really
you.
appreciate
Yeah.
it. Lovely to speak to you.
We've had such a lovely time. So if you are new to watching, or if you're not, don't forget to like, subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok, or you can follow us if you're listening on Spotify. We hope you've enjoyed the episode today. Make sure to come back next week on Sunday at 5 p.m. to see what we've got in store for you then, because you never know. We've only gone and had Colin from Two Doors Down on the podcast.